Well, folks, it is 12 o'clock. We'll go ahead and get started here. I'm Chris Jones. This is the CPP study break. And we handle this just like kind of like a radio call-in show. This is designed for all things CPP, all questions CPP. I noticed that we've got some new CPP candidates. We got Mark Kelly. Looks like he passed the written test. That's good. We got somebody new here. Michaela.
Yeah, Michaela.
Hey, Michaela. Oh, you just requested access to the study group. I approved you.
Yeah,
Welcome.
I just bought the books and started studying, so I haven't taken the test or just all brand new this week.
Awesome. So we're here to answer questions about the CPP. Anything from declaring to all the way to getting your, renewing your CPP. So I will open it up to see if we have any questions out there ready to go. Anybody have any questions? Guy Phillips has a question.
I'm curious about Michaela. Tell us more about you. Where are you from? What do you shoot? Yada, 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 yada.
So I live in New York City, and photography has been my hobby since I was a kid. I used to carry around a camera at age 7, took my first darkroom class in 7th grade, but I only started monetizing it a few years ago. In the past, I always loved Nat Geo, so I was shooting travel and wildlife and submitted some things to contests and magazines. But for the last 3 years, I've concentrated on headshots.
Awesome.
Cool.
Are you one of the headshot crew with Peter Hurley?
Say again, John?
Are you one of the headshot crew with Peter Hurley?
I am. And Christy Bell's a liaison, and she's part of the crew too. And that's how I found out about this. And I
So you have, your budget has no limits, in other words. Is that what I heard? He is a very gifted individual, but when I look at those numbers, I was like, really? So, of course,
you mean the lights?
No, well, his lighting, what he charges for a headshot, but then his workshops were just recently here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and I don't remember the exact number, but it's like, oh, good, you're proud of it. I like that.
I think his workshops are like 1,500 or so.
Yeah.
I'd say, because I wasn't a headshot person, but it's worth. I thought it was expensive too, because I come from a background of performing, and I was a dancer, which is the lowest paid of all the performing arts. So I had to save my little pennies to take his workshop, and I'm so glad I did. It's worth every single penny.
Excellent. Yeah, his books are great, and I like his style, etc. Yeah.
Join the crew for $25 a month. You can afford that.
He's a
yeah,
super
that part's
nice
not so bad. Yeah.
He's a really good guy. I've talked to him several times.
He was at the last 2 Imaging USA live. I think one he did a talk, and the other one he did a workshop on the exhibition floor. And just watching somebody's style, how they interact, is a missing part, because the books often don't go into that. And when you see how people interact with people, and they have to adjust according to how they're responding, that's a skill. I like it. Thank you.
Yeah,
Anyway.
one of the things I have to say about him is he is passionate about sharing the knowledge that he's accumulated over the years and his methodology. A lot of people like teach generalized things and they hold back, and he's gives it all. So join the crew.
So you noticed that Guy T held up the book. His book has a very specific attribute which is related to our study break, and that's tabs. So he knows that Guy is an example here that you have to refer back to stuff. And I don't know about your age, but at my age, I don't remember it all. So when I look at other books that I have, like my London book, it's got tabs all over the place. So that's part of the study, I think, just a study.
That's awesome. Fun fact, the cover girl on that book, her name is Krista Rodriguez, and she is playing the role of Liza Minnelli in the Netflix series Halston. And she's
No way.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
I've got to get
hold the cover
I
up
can
one more
see
time.
that.
Yeah. So go watch it.
Awesome.
That's her.
Oh, I did
can see
already.
her
I watched
doing
it on the
Manila.
first day. Right.
So, what did you want to know about CPP, Michaela? What don't
Well,
you know?
I haven't was it called registered yet for the
Declared, right? Yeah.
sorry. I was just reading about it all and I haven't declared yet. I took the first practice test. It's only 50 questions and I did very well, except I just didn't know because I haven't used a light meter. I've always been doing travel and wildlife. We don't really use light meters. So that's something I need to learn.
Okay. That's good.
Do you already have a copy of the CPP candidate handbook? Do you know what that is?
No, I was looking at some of the things to download. So is that on the website as well? I just need to.
Yeah, and as we speak, Chuck Odom, the guy that in my view is right above you, Chuck is probably finding you that link that will take you directly to it, right, Chuck?
Yep.
Oh, awesome. Thank you.
Mia.
Yeah, I'm just excited to see someone with the more art field background, whether that be in performing or on paper, either one, because I grew up in both. And it's like, yes, because it influences your work so heavily and your eye and how your brain thinks. So don't be afraid when you get bogged down in the technical part, because it could take you for a minute, because that's your creative side and your logical side trying to get in the fight. And it's like, just take a breath and keep going.
Thank you. And I love your name. That was my
Thank
nickname
you.
when I was a kid.
Oh,
That's awesome.
You know, it's interesting to watch too, is a lot of the artistic people who aren't necessarily technical people. It's a
Careful.
rare person that's both, right? But the artistic people and how they connect the dots on what the exam is asking about, and quite often better than those who are technical already.
Right.
When they,
Right.
you know, it's one of those, oh, I could have used that when I was doing X. They apply it much better.
I saw that in myself. I was kind of proud. I was like, look at me go.
Awesome.
Rather than arguing with it, they go, yeah, I could have used X. Yeah, check the chat because Chuck's already done his thing. That's, yeah.
Yep.
And Deb is also the person who told me about this group. So hi, Deb.
Good.
Hi, Michaela, you made it. Good to
Yeah.
see you. Hi, everybody.
Hey, Deb. How are you?
I'm good. I'm working in the background, but I'm here.
That's okay. That's allowed. What isn't
She's
allowed
doing
is leaving early.
Okay.
She's doing
Like
a
guy.
Yes.
she's doing a movie poster there. That's Frozen.
So Michaela Michaela, you introduced yourself already?
Yeah, I
Yes,
gave
you
it
did.
a little.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome.
So we have a couple of newer, not brand new, but newer CPPs on this afternoon. If you guys, maybe we'll start a discussion about so far what you think CPP has done for you going through the process. Don and Rebecca have just both kind of recently gone through the process and understand the beginning stages of being a CPP, so maybe they can kind of reflect on what the benefits have been thus far.
I think Silent Dawn should go first.
It's just a learning process. Even though I knew a lot and did well, and I did the practice test and whatever, going through it all, I still learned a lot more that I never knew. Like, for instance, color. I never paid attention to the color wheel and all that stuff. So it's very educational.
Yep.
Better watch out there, Don. You're going to get attacked by a bird.
Yeah. Can I add something to what Don just said, by the way?
Yeah.
Those of you on this group, and Michaela, you may be interested in this as well. You know that there's a ton of resources on the PPA site. And as a group, we only refer back to those same resources because we already know they're approved. One of the other things that's approved on there are additional cost courses you can take. Like you said, you bought a bunch of books already. One of them is Chris Duncan, and the other one that's similar to it is Steve Kozak. So look for both of those study guides if you'd like to use those. But what made me think about those guys was Chris Duncan's wife, Deanna, put together a book that's a lot of it's covered within their Texas school class, and I was fortunate enough to see it a couple of different times. But they have a really good section on color theories and applying those to your work. And you being an artistic type, Mia, you'd probably like this thing as well. She has an inexpensive course that's all about colors and color theories and using those colors within your work. So maybe something you might want to take a look at is look for Deanna Duncan stuff on Chris Duncan's site, because they're husband and wife. And you might be interested in seeing that too. I found it fascinating.
I will do that. Although I've been using color theory since, because of my art background.
Cool.
So I've used the color wheel and complementary and colors, and so
But there are differences though in the photographer world. There are differences, so don't get them mixed up.
Yeah, I bought the theatrical color wheel that doesn't have the same. It's not the same wheel.
Oh yeah, because color is added.
Oh, she's going to be good.
Yeah.
Look at that. See?
Yeah. So I get that, and I love color. I also my other business I didn't tell you about. I've been for 33 years. I've been a wellness practitioner, and I use a lot of color and sound with my healing.
Excellent. Chuck just put some more stuff in the chat for you too, by the way.
Oh, awesome! Thank you.
Yes, in case you want to get the London and Upton book, photography, the 12th edition, it's available for download, electronic version for $24.99.
Okay, well, I bought version 11. Just it's on its way in the mail.
Okay, cool.
That's awesome.
And see, she's going to like the line theory that I've been working on and still working on, because that's a part of it.
What's the line theory?
It's how the lines of your images, different shapes, evoke
awesome.
Emotional responses.
Drawing people in.
Drawing you in.
I love that.
Taking them from left to right, etc.
Yeah. And
keeping them engaged in your imagery. What doesn't matter what it is, just keeping them engaged.
So when you're in Lightroom and you see those funny looking little overlays that have circles and such on them, other than just rule of thirds, right, Mia?
Oh, definitely. There's
as
you saw, there are many.
Pythagorean, all that.
Yep.
That's awesome.
There are many more than even that.
That's sure.
What they tell you about, and then there's more. Yes.
That's cool.
Yeah, if you're in Australia, the one that goes like that actually goes that way instead.
Ha ha ha. So, Rebecca, how about you? How about your experience, what you gained from it? You're just recently a new CPP, so you're kind of fresh on your mind.
Yeah, I'm a 2-week-old baby. Thanks to Sally and Chuck. Woohoo!
There we go.
The first time I took the practice test, I got a 68, and I thought, oh, great, 2 points, I'm in. The second time I took the practice test, I think I got like a 53, and that was after studying for a while. So I guess I would just encourage you to stick it out. And I had this group was hugely important to me, and every time, the reason I'm still showing up is because every time I come, I learn something, and I'm thankful for that. And I also had a Connecticut Zoom study group that met most Tuesdays for a couple of months while I was studying. And keeping perspective was hard for me in a COVID world where you don't have access to people quite as much. So now that we're getting life back a little bit, hopefully that'll be an easier time. But yeah, I would say perspective was tough for me. Again, thank you, Sally and Chuck, for keeping me from doing myself harm or, anything stupid. Just, it was hard. I did it in about 2.5 months, and it was hard, but I'm really glad I did it, and I'm thankful. And so. Yes,
awesome. Guy T. Phillips.
What would you say was the best resource, since she's starting from scratch, and I'm going to ask this of you and Mark as well, best resource for the written? Not for the imaging, but for the written.
I bought Steve Kozak's $100 course, and I read every single word. I went through every single video and all his material. And I didn't even know Chris Duncan was there, because apparently I don't read the website until I was most of the way through. And I had a friend who was doing that one, and so we didn't exactly share, but we talked. And but Steve Kozak was everything I needed and more. So I was really pleased about that.
There you go. Your background's killing you, Steve. Steve Kozak's book and Duncan's are both additional charge, but Rebecca, I think you were able to get it for like $79.99, something like that.
Yeah, I tried. Wouldn't accept my code, so I just paid the $100.
Okay. If nothing else, reach out to Steve at stevekozak.com. And even if you don't have the code, he'll get you the code. Steve at stevekozak.com. Yeah, great little book. And did you join his Facebook group as well?
I did.
Yep.
Hey, I have somebody new that I've invited into the group.
Who would that be?
His name is Cory Benjamin. Cory, you here?
Is he Vision Lounge, South Carolina?
Yeah.
Yes, I'm here. Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Hey, Cory.
Yes, hey, how you doing?
Got another Georgia boy here.
Yes, ma'am.
So, awesome. Cory, you want to introduce yourself?
Well, my name's Cory Benjamin. I'm gonna try to cut my mic on, but I was over here not editing mic, but my camera on. I look pretty crazy right now. Give me a second. I'm currently editing real estate videos. Okay, how y'all doing?
Fantastic. Good to see you.
You all right? So my name's Cory Benjamin. I have been doing video and photography for about 7 to 10 years. I did it in school for a little bit and found the love for it. And basically I have just opened up a studio. I've declared about 3 weeks ago for CPP. And I'm excited about the process. I really do have a desire and a passion to just be the best that I can possibly be. And I want to know the ins and the outs about photography. I love looking at a picture and trying to say, okay, this was the f-stop, this was the aperture, the lights on this side, and this right here and that. So I really do want to understand the technical aspect. I have this wild dream that I will go to a set and I will just say, hey, this looks like it's going to be an F7. This is going to be this light. The camera should be here, blah, blah, blah. And then I just go take 2 pictures and I'm done. That's like, that's my ultimate goal and dream. But I mean, I understand it's a working process, but I welcome it because I do want it.
Awesome. It is interesting what he just said there too. Watching, we mentioned Kozak and Duncan, et cetera. They'll take a picture, maybe 2 or 3. They're done.
But you know, that also, I've had benefit of watching Bry Cox. For anybody that knows Bry, he's Brian's friend, and he just says, walk out there, do your estimate guess of what your settings are going to be, then take your light meter and confirm yourself. If you're off, you're off. He says, as you do that just over and over and over again, then you get to the point where you're just pretty much nailing it, to get your exposure and your stuff, and and it's just there. And so I'm like, dude, you are, of course, 30 years down the line. Yeah. I don't have 30 years, but I have 30 days. I can't do it.
Yep. Well, welcome. Just kind of recap what we do here. We are here to answer questions about the CPP, and whether it's from anywhere from declaring, test questions, could be Mark will eventually here soon have questions about submitting to technical images, or if you've already become a CPP, it could be about answering questions about becoming or keeping your CPP, or what are some of the benefits of CPP. So that's kind of what we do here. We have also on the call 2 brand new, newer liaisons, and I kind of like to ask the same question to Mia and to Steve, what they think CPP has been, the benefits of CPP has been for them.
Goes first. Okay, I'll go first.
Okay, please.
So, thank you. No, the whole process, as Rebecca says, it's not easy. You think you've got it, and then you don't, and then you don't think you have it, and then suddenly you do, and you got to find it. It may not always be consistent, but then you have to make that understanding consistent, and some of those technical things, that's what they are. So you just have to just know it. And then some of the other things you're like, okay, well, I know that vocabulary is one of the things we talk a lot about, because you're introducing a new world to yourself. So you're really kind of just absorbing the language of the culture of it as well. But, you know, from process to execution to here as a liaison, confidence is probably the biggest thing I've gotten out of it, all the way across the board. I mean, when I pick up my camera, I feel that I am more able to do the vision that's sitting in my head to what I'm seeing out there and how to make it look that way. But I continue with all the education that there is. I listen to all of you people who are much more seasoned than I am. I take plenty of courses because my goal is, you know, to always be learning. The CPP isn't, well, you're done. It's your beginning. And I just, the confidence that I have is amazing from where I was 6 months before I started.
Yep. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Can I ask each of you real quickly, like what type of photography you do?
Yeah, sure. I am also a headshot commercial photographer. I do, I also, aside from headshots, I do a lot of product photography, real estate photography. So that all seems to work very well hand in hand. Your branding needs, that type of thing.
I'll go next.
Did you want me to answer your question, Chris?
Do what?
Did you want me to answer your question?
Yeah, let's go around and answer Michaela's questions, and I'll circle back to you, Steve. Thank you.
All right, fine.
Like Chris, I do branding and business leader subscriptions, where business leaders don't get just a headshot, they get an entire year's worth. So we'll do something in the spring, summer, fall, winter, etc. Education, events, headshots, portraits, and seniors. Michaela? No babies, no dogs.
No furry baby dogs?
I do my own dog, but if somebody has a patient dog, perhaps, but most dogs, it's like, nope, I'm not going to take 127 shots for that one.
I think Michaela would be interested to hear what Sally does.
Mm-hmm.
Oh gosh. I'm from Augusta, Georgia. To me, it's a small town, but other people say it's big. I am a master photographer and I'm certified and I'm a craftsman, and I have no specialty. I'll do anything that brings money in the door. So I'll give you an example of my last month. I've done 3 weddings in the last month. I've done Hayden's Gym, which is our local gym, and done sports pictures. I've done a dance studio. I've done pictures out at a private country club of the fitness center. I've probably done 10 to 15 headshots. I probably have done a 1-year-old birthday party. I'm trying to think about all the things that I've done. I've done 2 family photo sessions. I'm constantly busy on all kinds of things. Last night I did a party at an Infinity car dealership. I just get called for everything. I've been around a long time and everybody knows me, and a lot of stuff is just word of mouth, and the same people call me over and over and over. So that's kind of what I do.
Didn't you end up shooting at the Masters this year?
I did.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
So a little bit of everything.
And that's what that craftsman and master will get you, is that confidence when you walk in the door, you know, and they know it. The clients know it. I want the best.
You don't get bored at all.
I don't. Right now, the last month I had, I was kind of surprised when I did my taxes. I had the best month I've ever had in my company's history last month. And I do all the work myself, and the editing was really hard. I'm sure I haven't been on very many of the calls lately. I do all my own editing. And so it's like, I pulled 5 all-nighters in the last month. Just trying to keep up.
It's time to hire an additional editor.
Yeah.
I keep telling her that.
Yeah. Retouchup.com. Yeah.
Chuck goes out on a lot of jobs with me.
So that would be a good transition. What do you do, Chuck?
I don't do much of anything. Just
He looks stuff up and puts it in the
He
chat.
helped Sally.
my specialty is green screen photography. I do fantasy stuff with it. Matter of fact, Friday morning, I'm doing a young lady. Okay, that didn't come out right. Anyway, we're photographing her. Yeah, I'm photographing
Chuck is our
her
resident
as a
Santa.
fairy queen with a unicorn and in a wooded field, which none of that stuff will exist except her. Everything is all digital. Plus, I do some sports photography because my grandsons are involved in sports, and so
There you go.
it's a legal
And Santa.
requirement.
You are Santa.
Oh yes, I'm also Santa, the Easter Bunny, and I officiate at weddings, but I will not photograph a wedding.
And James is uniquely different than Chuck as well, right, James?
Yes.
I actually have a background from television. I was 29 years in television as a commercial producer, doing photography along the way. And really my focus is like Sally, a little bit of everything. Whatever money comes in the door, I'll take it for the most part. Not really in the babies or dogs, pets, whatever. But for the most part, it's a senior wedding photography and then commercial production. So I do a lot of food and product shots. So that's my background.
So we come from a wide range of backgrounds in photography. And I think one of the things I wanted to get out of answering your question is the CPP used to be geared heavily towards portrait photographers. And nowadays it's especially because of the way they've revamped the technical image submission, it's more well-rounded in for all different kinds of photographers. So hopefully that answers your question. I mean, we all have similarities in that we know photography, we've studied the CPP, and we studied the foundation of photography through the CPP, but we have different specialties and we use it in different ways. So with that, I will let Steve answer two questions. I will let Steve answer what he does and what the benefits of CPP was.
Thank you, Chris. I think I have a similar background to Michaela. So I've been, and also maybe a background that might be dissimilar to everybody here. I've been in the performing arts my entire life, and I'm a musician. I've done some acting. I produced a lot of videos, mostly training videos, in the course of my work teaching high climbing on radio towers and high-rise buildings, and the radio towers and antennas for the U.S. government. So I did that. I've been in 18 countries around the world, and I got paid very well. And so I used my photography and videography to document those trips and to teach. And also in the stage productions, and I've been on both sides of the camera, done a lot of stunt work for some television commercials, and helped to produce a short film for the Sundance Film Festival some years ago, just a wide variety of experience. And so the CPP, to get back to that, I've always, in whatever field I'm in, I apply myself and I prove myself, and then maybe it's just a personal thing, but I want to pass every single test and know everything about it. And then what I do is I turn around and teach it because I want to help other people. That's my modus operandi, my MO, my way of life. I study it. I try to master it. I don't know if you ever master anything. And then you turn around, you help other people to get there so they don't have to reinvent the wheel. How's that for my answer?
Awesome.
I'm older than dirt. I didn't come here and I'm not going anywhere.
We're in a close race here, Steve.
So just know that.
So we've had the beginners, what the advantages are to them, the people that have just recently passed and are helping people. The people who've been around a while, there's 4 or 5 of us that have been around CPP for a while. And Guy T may be chiming in here what the benefits to him are. You awake?
No, I just gonna make sure. I don't know if you can see him, but John didn't get to go just yet. Can you see him on your panel?
Oh, John Gaylor.
Yes, sir.
As far as which question?
Oh.
Any of them.
Michaela's
Either of
question,
them.
I would guess.
Yeah, that's what I was getting ready to do, guys. Open up both questions to the people that have been around a while, as far as benefits of CPP and what you do. I mean, John Gaylor can answer both questions. Oh,
Get ready to have your socks blown.
you're unmuted. You're muted, but you're unmuted.
My background is in scientific imaging. So from age 17, I wanted to analyze satellite images, which I did for a while. And then I worked on microscopy. So I've looked at cancer cells over a week-long time lapse and sperm cells to see if they're healthy and swimming straight or in a circle, and all kinds of imaging like that. So in the background, I've done people photography, sports, and travel and adventure photography. And now I'm transitioning to doing that more. So I do events and portraits. This weekend, I was 100 miles into the backcountry and up a 3-mile dirt road to shoot a Burning Man party. I took my studio. So one of the things about CPP, you have to, well, about photography, you have to be adaptable. So my background's 13 feet wide and it's pretty windy up there. So I actually roped it to my truck. And then I noticed that the sun was going down behind it, which made a really good silhouette of the truck on the background. So then I had people sit on chairs and pretend they were driving it. I mean, it's just for fun. But by the evening, it looked like I was in my studio at home because, you know, it's dark and you just light it as you would normally. So that's part of the photography I like, the challenge of how to adapt to a place that I didn't know I was going to end up in, an environment I hadn't quite anticipated, and you just have to make it work. So,
Jeez,
more you
John,
know about
you
your
wanna play yet?
technicals, that's the big thing I believe in, is that when you know all the way down, why is the sky blue? You can understand a lot more things when you're faced with them because you can deconstruct them into what's going on, and then you can construct your answer to the solution for your solution to the problem. So I believe in the technical side, and a lot of my input here is on the technical aspect.
Sure. So Chuck Odom, you kind of said what your background is. What have been the benefits? You and I came in to CPP about the same time. We were recruited to be liaisons by Sally. Sally did a tremendous job in helping me to get my CPP. And I met Sally when she spoke at our convention. So I will touch on all of those when I tell you a little bit about my journey. But Chuck, tell me a little bit about your journey and what you think the value of CPP is.
Okay, well, first of all, my background is not photography. I did not come up through photography. My background is an electronics technician. I repaired radar and radios and recording devices, computers for the Army Air Traffic Control Services. That was my back. I didn't get into photography till long after I retired from the Army. As far as my CPP journey, it started to get Sally off my back. Same way she kind of volunteered us to be liaisons.
Yeah. We were voluntold.
Yeah. I did learn. The thing that amazed me the most is finding out how little I actually knew about photography. Because after I took the first, I signed up for Steve Kozak's course, took the first practice test. I got the part right of which button to push. Yay. Other than that, I was completely lost. There was so much stuff I didn't know that I have learned. And like everybody else said, it has increased my confidence. There was a time when I'd be working with Sally and she'd tell me, okay, you get behind the camera and take the pictures. I'm like, nope, not me. Nope, this is not something I'm comfortable doing because I didn't have experience in it. Now, if I'm working with Sally and she tells me to get behind camera, I have no problem with it. No matter what it is that we're doing, I'll jump in there. So it has definitely increased my confidence, increased my knowledge, and it's been a lot of fun.
It is fun.
Which at this point in my life, if it's not fun, I'm not going to do it.
Very true. Very true. So, go ahead, Guy.
Would it be beneficial to give her your usual script, so to speak? Because this is not a normal call, Michaela and some of the others. Chris, tell her more about what might happen on a normal call where a liaison would come in and be the guest host,
Right.
so to speak.
Right. So normally we would have one of us as liaisons to pose a question, or like John Gaylor did last week, where we just kind of did a Jeopardy style. What is the value of this term? You know, what do we know about these keywords? And we have different topics that we'll talk about that are related to the CPP exam, or we may be answering. We try to keep it very focused on CPP candidates and people that are going through the process. We try to answer questions about the technical image evaluation. So any questions that may come up, and I was going to say that here real quick, was if you have questions, you can feel free to interrupt what the topic is, which is I'm really kind of showing here that we all come from different backgrounds. We all come from different arenas in photography, but there's a commonality in the value of CPP. And I think everybody has said that they have gained confidence by gaining the CPP. One of the things that I value by becoming a CPP and then also becoming a liaison is being around other photographers that understand, that you don't know everything. So you're always out there. You're always out there learning, and some photographers, in general, they won't pursue the CPP, think they know everything, and I want to be associated as my type of photography. I want to be associated with photographers that can help me to learn my craft better and grow, and that's what I've done since I've obtained my CPP. I had coming in, I had 20 years of photography experience as a lead photographer and manager for school portrait companies, and I had no desire to understand more about what PPA was, let alone the CPP process. And then I started my own business about 3 years ago, and I decided, because I was always around photographers in my other job, I decided I needed to be around photographers more. And that's when I joined PPA, and that's when real quickly I decided that I needed the CPP. And ever since then, it has been it's all about the association for me, association with other photographers. And then I've also since learned that, I do want to do my craftsman. And I do want to eventually enter more competitions and maybe get my master's. So, but I also want to be more involved with PPA. There's committees and ways that you can volunteer. So I believe in the organization, and I believe in this process, the CPP process. So Mia was going to add something in there.
Yeah, I was just going to add, right around the same time I passed the test, I dabbled into my affiliates competition. I'd never submitted anything to a competition, photographically. It'd always been some other medium, maybe sculpture or something, poetry. So I'd been published and I had stuff sell at art shows, but I'd never done that. And the first time I did it, I merited, and I didn't even know what a merit was. Seriously, I didn't understand what a merit was. I just knew that it was good, and if you can do that. And so then I started looking at what is a merit, what does it mean, and how does it apply to your work? And I thought, well, holy cow, holy cow, I need to really get a lot more serious here, because I'm onto something. I'm onto something from me, because the vision that I had for the first image that I said, okay, I'm going to chance it, came out of my head. Wasn't something you saw every day. And I just went for it. And I was so thrilled that I did, looking back, because it really has helped create a path that I want to go on. And I don't always make it in the merit. Sally will tell you she critiqued one of my images for me, and I totally missed the boat on something. But that's the process. And when you get the critique and you go through that process of hearing someone else explain to you what could strengthen what your vision is, then it's just all worth it. It's fun. It's I highly recommend it for anyone.
Yep. Yeah. So with that, again, I'll circle back around. Anybody have any questions about anything CPP test or becoming a CPP or being a CPP or technical image evaluation? If you've got a question, throw it out there.
Well, I have a question. So I was wondering if I should just sign up and take the actual test just to see how close I am with the written part, or is that a waste of my time? Should I go through the studies and the practice tests and so forth?
Don, you're mute.
The practice test is exactly for that reason, or that's one of the things you can use it for. So it's a 50-question example test. So rather than take the test, which means you can't take it again for a while, you should take the practice test first, and each answer that you get right or wrong will show you the reference, which includes London, the 11th and 12th editions. It will tell you the page number of the topic that you just got right or wrong, so that you can look that
Right.
up.
I did that, and I only got, out of the 50 questions, I got 2 wrong.
Well, I'd take the test and just move on.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was pretty good.
And they were both light metering questions.
Well, that's the other thing, that the practice test can help you, and even these sessions can help you understand where you're fuzzy. So sometimes you know it, and sometimes you kind of get it right, but you're not really sure. And so a little bit deeper dive can help you get that more.
Well, that's what I thought. I'm like Steve. I like to dive deep and know everything. My brain's not satisfied unless it knows everything it can know.
The actual test is 100 questions, and in my own personal experience, when I did all the test questions and then I took the actual test, it was a lot harder than the test questions.
That's what I figured. So
even though that was a great result, and I think that's the highest of anyone I've heard take a practice test. So that's good. And you only need a 70 out of 100 to pass, so you'll almost certainly pass. But to me, it's not about passing. It's
about the knowledge,
understanding. And so any area where you find there's some weakness, that's a good thing to study up on.
Definitely taking the test in its entirety will show where you feel like you need to know more, and so you don't have to kind of stress about the whole thing. Just focus in on those particular areas.
I think also the technical part of what you're asking, though, is something to be considered, in that when you declare, that starts a time clock, which is, it's a 2-year time clock. And John mentioned there's a waiting period. If you take the test and you need to retake the test, there's a 30-day waiting period. So I mean, there's really, if you're doing that well on the practice test, to me, I wouldn't be really concerned with declaring and taking the test right away. And then you still have some time to do your technical images. So that's the only real major disadvantage is it starts that time clock.
And actually, there's a good thing on strategizing your timing. So in order to get the CPP, the second part is the technical image evaluation, and that is timed 5 times a year. It's on the even months, and it's the first 2 weeks, Friday to Friday. And so the next image evaluation period coming up is the 4th to the 18th of June. So if you were to take your test like right away and pass it, you could potentially order the items that you'll need to photograph. But one of my recent candidates just told me they took longer than he expected to arrive. So it's up to you. But if you thought you wanted to get it by passing the technical image evaluation in June, you have to have done your exam prior to doing that. And so if not, the next one is in August, the first 2 weeks, Friday to Friday in August. So that one might be a better thing because the June is pretty close. And then after you pass your exam and you submit your technical images, in a few weeks you'll get the answer back. They evaluate them with independent people that aren't even photographers. They've got a checklist of points to look at, and when you pass all of those, they just say yes, and you'll get notification, and then you'll be a CPP pretty much right away.
Awesome question. Anyone else? Hey, Deb Davis. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm enjoying all of this. I am
That's
right where
awesome.
I'm supposed to be with this group of people, because just like everybody else, I want to dig deeper, Michaela, and I will share. I have taken the CPP a few times, and I have not passed it yet, but I will not stop because this is something that I want. And just being with this group has really broadened my knowledge of knowing, I don't think I was as serious before, so I was just taking it just to be doing it. But now just being able to be around this group, and it's just exciting. So I'm just excited, and I'm not going to stop until I become a CPP.
Awesome. So Deb is part of my group here in Michigan. I've got about 6 people that are just about ready to take the test. I'm going to be offering an in-person test here in Michigan, so that's something exciting. Is in-person tests are happening again. People take tests differently, and some people like that paper test better than an online test. So we're offering in-person tests again. That's exciting. What else is exciting that's happening with CPP? New.
All kinds of things.
I know.
It's just like every day, it's like something new. It's like, yeah.
Yeah, PPA just keeps growing and growing and growing and changing things and exciting things for members. So I'm excited.
I will say this: if you choose to take a paper test, then it is Scantron. If you remember your high school days. So it's a different experience than online. I have no idea what online is like. Everybody has a different experience there, but I prefer paper test because I think it's easier just to go back and look at the questions. When you run into a question that has a similar vocabulary, you go, oh yeah, okay, I remember that, as Chris was saying earlier. But yeah, Scantron, bubbles, and all very sealed and very, very protected. And it was a great experience for me. It was fantastic. I was nervous, but I did it anyway, and voila, passed. Did it.
Mia is
I'm
the
still
best.
jazzed. I'm telling you, I'm still jazzed. And I'm, now I'm sitting with all these people, wonderful people, and
Right.
and I'm still
I
jazzed.
wanted to say this. Mia, you're awesome. Thank you so much. You helped me even outside of the group. But I wanted to say, just because of this group, I just had my headshot blitz on Sunday, and I was hearing in my mind, I heard John, I heard Chuck, I heard Chris, and I heard all these guys when I was doing my metering, my clients. And for the very first time, this is the first time that I've taken less shots of my clients because of metering and knowing how to get my white balance and my light right. So that's a testament to this group, because all the other times I was just moving my light, guessing, doing this and just guessing. But just to know that I've come this far to even know that technical part of where to put my main light and how to measure it and get my f-stops and all of that. I was just so excited when I got home Sunday evening, because I was like, when I put the photos on my computer, I'm like, wow, I don't have 300 shots. I only have I had 12 clients, but each one I was only able to take anywhere from 6 to 10 was the most shots that I took of each client. But most of them was like 6 shots, and I nailed it, and I was just excited about that. So
awesome.
Oh
awesome,
man, that's
awesome.
just awesome. I love it.
So, hey Cory, do you have any questions for us?
Not right now. I want to know about the quiz or the practice test, and someone put that in the chat for me. So I got that. That was the only question I had right now. I'm excited to be here. Like I said, I know what my purpose is, and it was very interesting to hear all the different backgrounds that y'all come from. So just thank y'all for having me.
No problem. We'll be here, and we'll be back to a more normal schedule here in the next coming weeks. But I think it's always important to kind of see, where people that you are going, where they have come from. And and it seemed like we had kind of a little bit newer group that we could talk about that a little bit. Some newer CPPs, some newer declare people. So, but I always will make sure that if you're on the call, that you're recognized for a question first above any other agenda. So, awesome. Well, it's been a great call, guys. We still got a few minutes. If anybody has anything they want to talk about, anything exciting news, any wins this week? Anybody had any wins this week? Deb had an awesome headshot event. That's exciting.
Yes, but I can't talk about it just yet because it's kind of a surprise.
Uh-oh.
Okay, so I'll ask a question. It's a technical one, okay? So it's an event that I did last night, okay? I walked into an Infinity car dealership, okay? And they have can lighting up, not fluorescent, can lighting up, okay? And in the Infinity dealership, it's got one window that is all window light coming through, beautiful window, big, giant, large, go to the ceiling, double up high. And then all the floor is white, and they have a brand new car and they want to photograph it. Okay, what would you set your white balance at? And you want to photograph the car, but you also want to photograph the owner of the dealership standing in front of the car, and you want him to be looking good. So give me some advice on what you would set your settings at.
Can we cut the overhead can light off and then just light the whole room?
Nope, because they have all these people in the dealership and you can't turn the lights off.
Cloudy day.
It was a cloudy day.
No, so that's what I would set the white balance to.
Oh, I gotcha.
So your can lights are tungsten lights? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good mix. I mean, did you have flashes? Were you using flashes?
We did. We brought our Michael Mowbray lights. You know what are those Godox? Two big flash points. Yeah.
So I would be inclined. Yeah, I like the cloudy, but I'm not inclined really to use the only because I know what the tungsten, or I'm sorry, the value of a cloudy is, where it kind of sets its range. I'm not too into using the automated. I would dial in my Kelvin temperature to be somewhere in the neighborhood of 52 to 5600 degrees, depending on the model and brand of your lights. and shoot for my strobes and let them overpower the can lights.
Gotcha. And so can somebody that's trying out for CPP, I'm going to tell you that because of the inverse square law, the light fell off. So what would be the solution to the dealership visually looks white when you're looking at it, but when you shoot it in camera, it doesn't. So can you give me a solution on what you would do to make the background look white like you visually see it? Any of you guys know that answer?
Yes, I would say put a light behind the car, and you can actually shoot at the background to expose for that, and that'll light your background, and then your car be lit with the other lights that you have.
And what would you say if I said that the photographer forgot to bring that light?
Then you would have to lower you would have to make your ambient light more in the scene, so you would have to lower your shutter speed.
You are dead on right, buddy. You're doing good.
Awesome.
Hey, Cory.
I really like these questions. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Right. I like that question. I was trying to follow the scenario, and I was getting it. I was like, somehow you do have to slower, like you said, your shutter speed, so that you let it that lets in less light, correct?
Right.
Okay. I have it's easy for me to kind of do it with the camera than it is to kind of explain it, if that makes sense.
No,
and I think
totally.
that's kind of where taking the exam, it's like, if you tell me to go and do it, I can go and do it. It's just explaining it, but I'm getting there. I'm not even going to even say what I can't do. I'm going to get
But see,
there.
that's why I stress, sometimes I say, put the camera in your hand when you're going through the test, because you have so much practical application, and you just have it's more difficult for you to explain it. So you're doing it, and then just slow yourself down and go, okay, this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm doing. This is what I'm doing. It's mapping that technical as well when you know you're successful.
And that's true, because I did that Sunday, Mia, with the measuring the light. So that is really helping me. So
I don't mean to interrupt, but they don't allow that in the Proctor U environment. You cannot have anything on your desk. So you would not have a camera present. Not allowed.
No, she's talking about while I'm studying. I know I can't have the camera. I know I can't have the camera with me.
Oh, I thought she said during the exam. That would
no, during the practice exam when I'm studying for it. Yeah, thanks, Steve.
Right, sorry.
So we're down to a couple minutes. I'll pull a John Gaylor on us. Let's talk about color temperature and white balance. Kind of tell me about the relationship between the two, and tell me the difference between color temperature and white balance.
There's a difference?
Yes, there is.
So,
talk it out. Talk out the terms, and you may hit upon the difference just by talking it out.
Okay. So, I don't want to talk the whole time. So, if anybody want to talk, they'll go first. I'll say mine.
Well, I'll go. Well, color temperature tends to be, you could take color temperature leans towards cool or leans towards warm. And then white balance is actually the number attached to the quality of light, because there's a greater range of daylight versus, let's see, now I'm getting myself, it's a good question.
The way I understand color temperature is warm versus cool. So the color temperature has something to do with how warm your image is versus how cool it is, and then you can balance it some kind of way. Versus the white balance, it's more it gives you more, I think, more of an accurate color. Or
Okay, so we're
well,
as we're talking about this, think about
the type of light.
color temperature is
A number. No, white balance is a number.
color temperature is in relation to the type of light that you're using, right?
So like, yeah, like fluorescent, your
Fluorescent or
light
something.
bulb.
So color temperature relates to our light source.
Okay.
White balance is how the camera records that light.
Okay.
Okay.
So knowing your different types of light and what temperature they are, that may be very handy on the test. And also knowing different ways that your camera can record white balance, whether it's automated, it's a scenario like we brought up with cloudy, or you can dial it in with Kelvin temperature, or you can set a custom white balance. Those are all different ways that your camera will record a white balance.
Okay.
You can also handle white balancing through post-processing software.
Mm-hmm. Is the only way you can get a custom white balance is with a gray card, correct?
It is a gray card is a standardized way of recording a white balance. You can take a custom white balance off of anything that's white. Right. But here's the caveat that why I use a gray card as a standardized balance. If you take a white piece of paper, different white pieces of paper have different values of white. Mm. If I take my white balance off of a bride's dress, they've got bleaches and things that may lean that dress to more of a blue. So if you use, and I'm going to even go one step further and to say, if you use a Kodak gray card, it is the industry standard for middle gray, and also it is something that can be used as a white balance tool.
Okay.
Any other questions while we got it? We're 3 minutes into overtime, which how this usually works is we're willing, as liaisons, everybody's got businesses, so if you need to bounce off, that's totally understood. But as liaisons, we stay until you guys have your questions answered. So if you want to hang out and ask questions, we'll be here to talk. But we're in overtime, and we understand if you got to go.
Okay, great class today, everybody. I'll see you all next time.
All right, see you, Deb. Take care.
Okay. Bye, Michaela.
Bye, Deb. Talk to you this afternoon.
Okay. Did you submit?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, bye.
Bye.
Nice meeting y'all, Miss Sally. Thank you for inviting me. I will
You're
see
welcome.
y'all next time.
Good meeting you too, and we'll see you next time.
Yes,
All
nice
right.
meeting all of you.
All right, I'm headed off. I'll see y'all later.
All right, guys.
Thank
Everybody
you.
have a good week. We'll see you next Tuesday.